Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Strange, and damn, if you're watching this right now, you already know something's off with the golden couple of the decade. Picture this: Super Bowl 60, February 8th, 2026, Levi's Stadium packed to the rafters with legends, millionaires, and every influencer who could buy a ticket. Travis Kelce struts in like he still owns the field, black suit, hugging those shoulders, big goofy grin, shaking hands with Tom Brady, high-fiving Patrick Mahomes from the sidelines, even though his Chiefs got bounced early this season. The man's living his retired king life, right? But where the hell is Taylor Swift? Nowhere. Not in the suite, not on the field, not even a blurry Instagram story from the box. She ghosted her own fiancé on the biggest night in sports, and the internet is losing its collective mind. Insiders are whispering it's not security, it's not the music video drop, it's deeper. Is the kind of panic that makes a 36-year-old billionaire pop star cancel private jets and lock herself in a New York penthouse, staring at her phone, wondering if the fairy tale she built is cracking right under her perfectly manicured nails. Let me tell you, I've been digging into this for weeks, talking to people who were in the rooms, people who saw the text, people who heard the fights that didn't make the tabloids. This isn't some scheduling conflict. This is the first real fracture in the Tayvis empire, the one that's been brewing since the engagement photos dropped last August, the one that's got everyone from Blake Lively's circle to Travis's ex Kayla Nicole throwing subtle shade like it's their full-time job. And today I'm laying it all out, no fluff, no corporate spin, just the raw, ugly truth about why Taylor Swift left Travis Kelce hanging at the biggest stage in the world, and why she's quietly freaking out that this might be the beginning of the end for the most public romance Hollywood has seen in years. But before we get into the leaked voice notes and the slammed doors, we gotta go back to the start, because to understand how a girl who turned every heartbreak into a #1 album ended up ghosting the man she called her forever, you have to see how perfectly engineered this whole thing was from day one. Taylor Allison Swift, born December 13th, 1989 in Reading, Pennsylvania. The curly-haired kid from a Christmas tree farm who wrote her first song at age 5 about a kid who bullied her on the playground. By 15, she had a record deal. By 20, she was the country princess who made teenage girls feel seen. Then came the pop reinvention, the feuds with Kanye, the Masters battle with Scooter Braun, the re-recordings that made her a billionaire on her own terms. She's been burned so many times, it's a miracle she still lets anyone close. Joe Alwyn, the quiet British actor who lasted 6 years until the rumors got too loud about her being too much work. Matty Healy, the chaotic one that blew up in her face faster than you could say racist tweets. She learned the hard way that love in the spotlight is a weapon, and she turned every scar into platinum records. Now, Travis Michael Kelce, born October 5th, 1989, same year as her in Westlake, Ohio. The loud, loving family boy with brother Jason, who became his podcast partner, mom Donna, who went full Swiftie the second her son brought Taylor home, dad who coached them through every scraped knee and every touchdown. Travis was the ultimate party boy turned three-time Super Bowl champ, drafted in 2013 by the Chiefs. He partied hard, dated models, lived that NFL bachelor life until the fame hit different. By 2022, he was the king of Kansas City, but something was missing. He said it himself on his podcast, New Heights, the one he does with Jason. He was ready for something real. Their story started like every rom-com Taylor ever dreamed of writing. September 2023, she brings the Eras Tour to Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Travis shows up with a friendship bracelet that says, "I heart TS, but he never gets to give it to her because security is too tight." He goes on the podcast that week, talks about it like a lovesick teenager, says he tried to give her the bracelet but couldn't, calls her hilarious and so cool. She sees the clip, slides into his DMs, first date at a sushi spot in New York, low-key, but the paps catch them anyway. First public appearance at that SNL after party where they're all over each other. By Christmas, they're spending holidays together. By the 2024 Super Bowl, she's in the suite cheering him on, painted nails with his number, the whole world watching. It was perfect, too perfect. The kind of PR gold that made brands throw money at them. The kind of love story that had little girls dreaming of friendship bracelets and NFL tickets. They were everywhere. Taylor at Chiefs games, Travis at her shows in London and Singapore, double dates with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, the cool Hollywood power couple vibe, engagement in August 2025, some flower-filled garden in Rhode Island, Travis down on one knee. The photos drop and the internet explodes. Wedding plans start immediately. Summer 2026, big but intimate. A list guests, her mom Andrea and his mom Donna doing joint interviews like they're planning a royal wedding. Travis even takes a break from the podcast to focus on family. Everything's golden, or so it seems, but here's where the cracks start showing, and this is the part nobody's talking about yet. Late 2025, Blake Lively's lawsuit with Justin Baldoni explodes. All those unsealed texts where Taylor's name comes up as the supposed ally. The one Blake confided in about the It Ends With Us drama. Taylor tries to stay neutral publicly, but privately she's in it deep. Sources close to her team say she was calling Blake at all hours, offering advice, getting pulled into the mess like quicksand. Travis, the big protective football guy, starts pulling back. He tells her straight up one night over dinner in Beverly Hills, "Babe, I don't need that energy in our house." They argue. Not the cute kind with makeup sex and flowers the next day, the kind where doors slam and phones get thrown across the room. Travis is from that Midwest family where you say what you mean, no games. Taylor's from the music industry where everything is calculated, every move is a chess piece. By January 2026, things are tense as hell. They're spotted grabbing dinner in LA on the 12th, looking cozy for the cameras, but insiders say it was staged. 2 days later, Travis is at NFL Honors without her. Then the Super Bowl rolls around. Travis is in San Francisco for days, partying, doing appearances, living it up like the old days. Taylor's in New York rapping the music video for Opalite, her second single from the new album. The one literally about their love, the iridescent glow of it all. She drops the video literally hours before the game. Coincidence? Come on. Word on the street from people in her inner circle is that she was holed up watching Travis mingle with every model and influencer in the building, and it hit her like a truck. And here's the part that really stings. During the game, Travis's ex, Kayla Nicole, pops up in a Super Bowl ad for slippers. She's there with Tiffany Haddish and Offset looking flawless. The shade is subtle but deadly. She's been throwing little digs at Taylor's body, her appeal ever since the relationship started. From me to that, one old video resurfaced and went viral again. People swear they saw her smirk when Travis's face came on screen. Kayla dated Travis for 5 years. The on-again, off-again mess that ended in 2022. She was there for the first Super Bowl win, the fame explosion. Then he ghosted her for the next girl. Sound familiar? Taylor saw that ad and it reminded her of everything she hates about this world. The exes who never really go away. The comparisons that never stop. Now the panic. Taylor's people are in full damage control mode. She's posting cryptic lyrics on her stories, stuff about trust and betrayal and being left on read. Travis posts a story from LA after the game, them together again, but the caption is too perfect. Reunited, come on, we all know that's bullshit. People in the know say she confronted him that weekend. Why weren't you answering my texts? Why were you liking those models' photos? Is this what our life is gonna be like? Travis being Travis laughs it off at first, but then it gets real. He's talking retirement, stepping away from the spotlight, podcast empire, maybe acting. Taylor's career is at a peak with this new album cycle. She's 36 now, thinking family, kids, the whole thing. He's 36 too, but the ego is still there. I've got sources who say the real fight happened the night before the Super Bowl. Travis was out with the boys in San Francisco. Taylor was in New York rapping the video. She texts him something vulnerable about missing him, about the wedding stress, about how the Blake drama is bleeding into their life. He leaves her on read for hours. When he finally replies, it's a voice note, a little slurred from the drink, saying he's just living his life, she loses it, blocks him temporarily. Tells her assistant, I'm not going to that game. Security becomes the excuse they feed the pups. But the real reason is pure, unfiltered hurt. The girl who controls every narrative suddenly feels like she's losing control of her own love story. And the wedding, it's on pause. Reports say they've pushed it to fall at the earliest. Travis wants to figure out his next chapter first. Taylor wants commitment now. In the middle of it all, Kayla's ad drops like a bomb. The internet connects the dots. Kayla won. Taylor sees it all and it hits harder than anyone expected. This is the first real test, folks. The one where the cameras are off and the money, the fame, the egos all collide. Taylor built her whole brand on turning pain into art. If this blows up, the next album is gonna be nuclear. Travis is the guy who said they've never fought. Now we're hearing whispers of slam doors and I need space text. But here's what I think is really happening, and this is the part that keeps me up at night. Taylor's panicking because for the first time she's met someone who matches her level of crazy in the best and worst ways. Travis loves the spotlight as much as she does, but he's also the one who can walk away from it when he wants. She's all in, always has been, and that Super Bowl ghost, it wasn't her leaving him. It was her testing if he'd come running, and he did eventually. They reunited in LA looking all loved up for the cameras, but the damage is done, the trust is cracked. The fairy tale is showing its first real tear. Look, I'm not saying it's over. These two are too stubborn, too rich, too famous to let it die quietly. But if you're watching this and thinking, the end game, wake up. Hollywood eats fairy tales for breakfast. The real question is, when the next fight hits, will she write the song or will she just disappear again? But wait, you think that's the full picture? Oh no, we're just getting started. Because to really understand why this ghosting happened, we have to go deeper into the biographies, the family dynamics, the way Travis's retirement talks are shaking everything up. Stick with me, because the next layer is where the real dirt starts to surface. The stuff the publicists are praying stays buried. Let me tell you, the family dynamics in this story are a whole other beast that nobody's really talking about yet. But trust me, once you see how these two families collided, it makes that Super Bowl ghosting feel like the inevitable explosion it was always building toward. Travis comes from this loud, tight, neat Midwest crew in Westlake, Ohio. The kind of family where Sunday dinners are non-negotiable and everybody knows everybody's business. His mom, Donna, she's the heart of it all, this fiery, no-nonsense woman who raised two boys basically on her own while their dad, Ed, was coaching football. When Travis first brought Taylor around in late 2023, Donna didn't just welcome her, she went full fangirl mode. She was at the Eras Tour shows, wearing the friendship bracelets, posting stories with Taylor's lyrics, even getting matching tattoos with her own friends. People who were there say Donna told Travis straight up, "Don't you dare mess this up, son. She's the real deal." But here's the thing, Donna also became this unofficial bridge, texting Andrea Swift, Taylor's mom, about everything from wedding flowers to how to handle the paparazzi. They did a joint appearance at some charity thing in 2025, laughing about how their kids were meant to be. But insiders say, behind the scenes, it was all calculated, the moms trying to keep the peace while the kids were fighting over the spotlight. Taylor's side is a whole different world. Scott and Andrea Swift, that power couple from Pennsylvania, who built a Christmas tree farm empire before Taylor's music took off. They divorced when she was a teenager, and that left scars, deep ones. Taylor's talked about it in old interviews, how the split made her terrified of abandonment, how she throws herself into relationships like they're the only thing that can fix the hole. Andrea's the protective one, the stage mom who moved the family to Nashville so Taylor could chase her dreams. Scott's the finance guy, the one who taught her about owning her masters, the business brain behind the billion-dollar empire. When Travis came into the picture, Scott was skeptical at first. Football player, really? He supposedly said in a family meeting. But Travis won him over with that big personality, showing up at the farm, helping with chores, talking sports like he belonged. By the engagement in August 2025, the families were merged like some Hollywood royalty merger. They spent Christmas in Rhode Island that year all together, Donna and Andrea cooking side by side, Jason Kelce and his wife Kayla joking about double dates. It looked perfect on the outside, but the pressure was insane. Taylor's people were already whispering about prenups, about protecting the catalog, about what happens if Travis's retirement leaves him with nothing but podcast money. Travis's camp was pushing for a big wedding, the kind that cements his legacy as the guy who got the pop queen. Now, let's talk about that engagement, because it was the moment everything shifted from fairy tale to real-life pressure cooker. August 15th, 2025, some private garden in Rhode Island, the same place they talked about for the wedding. Travis gets down on one knee. The ring is this massive oval diamond custom from some jeweler in New York worth over $1 million easy. Taylor's crying, hugging him, posting the photos the next day with the caption, "Forever starts now." The world ate it up. But what they didn't see was the fight that happened 2 days before. Taylor was stressed about the timing. Her new album cycle was ramping up. She had the re-recording of her old stuff still rolling, and Travis wanted kids right away. "I want to be a dad before I'm 40, he told her during a late-night talk in her New York apartment. She pushed back. "I'm 35, Trav. I need this album to be perfect first." They compromised, or at least pretended to. The proposal was beautiful, but the planning that followed was a nightmare. Wedding planners from LA and New York were flown in. Guest lists were being revised daily. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds were locked in as best man and maid of honor. But Travis was already side-eyeing Ryan because of the whole "it ends with us" mess that was brewing. "That guy's drama follows him everywhere," Travis said in a text to a buddy that got leaked later. Taylor defended her friend. "She's been through hell you don't understand." That was the first big crack. And speaking of Blake, this is where the dirt really starts piling up. Because her lawsuit with Justin Baldoni didn't just bleed into their lives, it became the third wheel in their relationship. Remember how it all went down? The movie It Ends With Us, based on the Colleen Hoover book, Blake producing and starring Justin directing. What started as a passion project turned into a war. By late 2025, the texts were unsealed in court, and Taylor's name was all over them. Blake texting her about how Justin was weaponizing the set, how the intimacy coordinator was a joke, how she felt unsafe. Taylor was replying with voice notes at 2 in the morning, "I got you, sis, document everything." She was in deep, offering her lawyers, her publicists, the whole Swift machine. Travis hated it. He saw it as a distraction, as something that was going to drag their perfect image through the mud. One night in December, they're at a dinner in Beverly Hills with friends, and Travis snaps, "Babe, this is gonna blow back on us. Ryan's already out here doing press like he's the victim." Taylor fires back, "She's my friend, and you're acting like you don't care about women being treated like shit in this industry." The argument escalated, they left separately. Travis slept at a hotel. Sources say he called his brother Jason that night. "Man, I love her, but this Hollywood stuff is exhausting." Jason, the voice of reason, told him to chill, but the seed was planted. By January 2026, the tension was thick. They tried to play it cool for the cameras, that LA dinner on the 12th, where they looked all cozy, holding hands, smiling. But it was staged. The teams coordinated it to kill the breakup rumors that were already swirling. 2 days later, Travis is at the NFL Honors alone, accepting some lifetime achievement thing, talking about family in his speech, but not mentioning her by name. Then Super Bowl week hits, Travis flies to San Francisco early, does all the media, the parties, the appearances. Taylor stays in New York, locked in the studio, finishing up a light. The song is this beautiful ballad about their love, the way it glows like opal in the light. But she drops the video the day of the game on purpose, like a quiet fuck you to the narrative that she has to be there for him. And the text that weekend, I've heard from people who saw the chain. Taylor sends him something vulnerable the night before. "I miss you, this wedding stress is killing me, and Blake's thing is making me question everything about trust." He reads it, leaves it for hours while he's out with the boys. When he replies, it's a voice note, voice a little thick from the drinks. "Babe, I'm just leaving, we'll talk when I'm back." She blocks him, tells her assistant, "I'm not going to that game," make up an excuse about the video drop. The security story was the cover, but the real reason was hurt, pure and simple. The girl who writes songs about being left behind was feeling it in real time. And then Kayla Nicole drops that Super Bowl ad, and it's like the universe is piling on. Kayla, the ex who was with Travis for 5 years, the one who was there through the first Super Bowl win, the fame, the cheating rumors, the on and off again hell. She was the model, the influencer, the one who put up with his wild years. When he moved on to Taylor, she went quiet at first, but the shade started coming. Old videos resurfaced, her saying things like, "I was the one who made him a man," subtle digs at Taylor's innocent image. The sleeper ad during the game, she's there with Tiffany Haddish and Offset looking incredible, confident, successful. The internet exploded. Kayla won the breakup. Taylor saw it from her penthouse and it hit like a slap. It reminded her of every ex who came before, every comparison, every time the world tried to pit women against each other. She posted a cryptic story later that night, a lyric from an old song about betrayal, and the comments went nuclear. This is the layer where the panic really sets in for Taylor. She's 36, engaged to this larger-than-life guy, planning a wedding that feels more like a business merger than a love story, and suddenly the foundation is shaking. Travis is talking retirement, saying his body's done, the Chiefs want him back, but he's eyeing the podcast, the acting gigs, the brand deals. Taylor's pushing him to settle down, to start the family she's always wanted, but he's scared. What if I lose who I am? He told a close friend in a conversation that got back to her circle. The moms are trying to mediate. Donna texting Andrea. They'll figure it out. They're kids. But the kids are billionaires with egos the size of stadiums, and the Blake drama is the match that lit the fuse. You see, this isn't just a missed game. This is the moment Taylor realized that loving Travis means loving the chaos, the excess, the spotlight, the fights that don't end with a song. And that ghosting, it was her way of saying, if you can't be there when I need you, maybe this isn't it. But he came running back, they reunited in LA, posted the photos, reunited, and it feels so good. The caption was too on the nose, too perfect, and the smiles didn't reach the eyes. The trust is cracked, the wedding is on hold, and the next album is going to be a masterpiece of pain if this keeps going. But we're not done yet, because the real betrayal, the one that makes this whole thing feel like a bad movie, is how the money and the power play started creeping in right around the same time. Stick around, because the next part is where we get into the prenup wars, the secret meetings with lawyers, and how Travis's retirement talk turned into a full-blown identity crisis that almost ended them before the Super Bowl even happened. And let's dive straight into the money mess that was bubbling under the surface all along. Because when you're talking about Taylor Allison Swift and Travis Michael Kelce, you're not just talking about love, you're talking about two empires colliding. And empires don't merge without a whole lot of lawyers, spreadsheets, and power plays that make this Super Bowl ghosting look like child's play. It all started ramping up right after that engagement in August 2025, when the ring was still fresh on Taylor Allison Swift's finger, and the congratulations texts were pouring in from everyone from Beyonce Knowles Carter to Elon Musk. But behind the scenes, the prenup talks were already turning into a full-blown war, the kind where teams of attorneys from both sides are flying in from Los Angeles and New York, sitting in conference rooms with views of the ocean or the skyline, arguing over every last penny and every last master recording. Let me set the scene for you, because this is the stuff the tabloids only hint at in their clickbait headlines. Picture a sleek office in downtown Manhattan, late September 2025, the kind of place with floor-to-ceiling windows and coffee that costs more than most people's weekly groceries. Taylor Allison Swift is there with her dad, Scott Swift, the finance guy who's been her rock since she was a kid, the one who taught her how to read a royalty statement before she could drive. She's got a team of 5 lawyers from the best entertainment firm in the business, all sharp suits and even sharper questions. Travis Michael Kelce shows up with his agent and his brother Jason Kelce, who's not just family, he's the voice of reason in all this chaos. The guy who retired from the NFL himself and knows what it's like to go from hero to has been in the blink of an eye. They're going over the assets line by line like it's a merger between 2 Fortune 500 companies instead of a love story. Taylor Allison Swift's catalog is worth over $1 billion at this point. The re-recordings have made her untouchable, and she's got real estate from Nashville penthouses to New York apartments to that massive Rhode Island compound where they got engaged. Travis Michael Kelce, on the other hand, he's got his NFL money from 3 Super Bowl rings, the podcast New Heights that's pulling in tens of millions a year with his brother Jason Kelce, the brand deals with Nike and State Farm and all those other companies that want a piece of the football king. But let's be real, his net worth is a fraction of hers, maybe around $50 million or so compared to her empire. And that's where the fight started, the kind that leave everyone in the room shifting uncomfortably in their leather chairs. Taylor Allison Swift's team is pushing for ironclad protections. One lawyer supposedly said during a heated meeting, everything she brings into this marriage stays hers. No exceptions. The music, the properties, the brand deals that she built from scratch, it's all protected down to the last lyric. Travis Michael Kelce's side is pushing back, not aggressively at first, but enough to make Taylor Allison Swift feel like he's questioning her trust from the jump. "We're building a life together," he told her one night after one of those meetings, according to someone who was in the room and later spilled to a mutual friend. "Why are we treating this like a business deal?" Taylor Allison Swift fired back, her voice steady but her eyes showing the hurt. "Because it is a business deal, Travis Michael Kelce. I've been screwed over too many times in this industry to not protect what's mine." That conversation ended with her storming out of their New York apartment, calling her mom Andrea Swift in tears, saying she felt like she was marrying a stranger all of a sudden. The guy she fell for on that podcast suddenly feeling like he was after more than just her heart. But it gets dirtier, way dirtier, because the retirement talks were the real trigger for the prenup drama that almost blew everything up before the Super Bowl even happened. Travis Michael Kelce had been hinting at hanging up the cleats since the 2025 season. His body's been through hell, 3 Super Bowl rings, but a laundry list of injuries. Knees that click when he walks, ankles that swell up after a long flight, that back issue that flares up every winter like clockwork. He was telling his inner circle over beers in Kansas City, "I want to be done by 37, focus on the family, the podcast," maybe even acting like Dwayne Johnson did with all those movies. Taylor Allison Swift was all for it at first, pushing him to retire so they could start the family she's been dreaming about since she turned 35. The kids, the quiet life in Rhode Island, the whole picket fence fantasy she writes songs about but never really gets to live. But when the numbers came out, when the lawyers started crunching what his post-NFL life would look like on paper, Travis Michael Kelce started getting cold feet big time. "What if I lose my identity?" he confessed to Jason Kelce during a late-night call that Jason Kelce later joked about on the podcast, but the subtext was there, heavy as a linebacker. Jason Kelce, the big brother, the one who retired himself in 2024 after his own Super Bowl run with the Philadelphia Eagles, was the one telling Travis Michael Kelce, "Bro, money's not everything, but you gotta have a plan or you're gonna wake up one day wondering who the hell you are without the helmet." The plan involved Taylor Allison Swift's money, and that's where it got ugly. The kind of ugly that makes you question if love was ever real or just a convenient story for the cameras. Insiders say Travis Michael Kelce's team floated the idea of a joint venture, something like a production company where they'd co-produce her tours or his future movies, splitting profits 50-50 down the middle. Taylor Allison Swift's dad, Scott Swift, shut that down hard. "Over my dead body." He reportedly said in one email that leaked to a gossip site later on, the kind of leak that makes publicists lose sleep. Scott Swift has always been the protector, the guy who moved the family to Nashville when Taylor Allison Swift was 14, the one who taught her about royalties and ownership and never signing away your soul for a quick buck. He wasn't about to let his daughter's empire get diluted by a football player's midlife crisis, no matter how charming the guy was at family dinners. Andrea Swift was more diplomatic, texting Donna Kelce, Travis Michael Kelce's mom, "The kids are strong, they'll work it out." But even Donna Kelce was starting to worry in private. Donna Kelce, that fiery woman from Ohio who raised 2 boys basically on her own while their dad Ed Kelce was coaching football, she's been Team Taylor Allison Swift from day one, posting Eras Tour photos and getting matching tattoos with her friends. But she pulled Travis Michael Kelce aside during a family dinner in Kansas City in October 2025 and said, "Son, don't you dare ask that girl for a dime. You make your own way or you walk away." Meanwhile, the Blake Lively situation was pouring gasoline on the fire, turning what should have been a simple prenup into a full-blown battlefield. Blake Lively, Taylor Allison Swift's ride-or-die best friend since the Gossip Girl days back in the late 2000s, her lawsuit with Justin Baldoni was exploding in the courts by late 2025, and those unsealed texts from November 2025 had Taylor Allison Swift's name all over them like a neon sign. Blake Lively texting Taylor Allison Swift things like, "He's making me feel unsafe on set, I need your advice," and Taylor Allison Swift replying with voice notes full of support at 2 in the morning, "Document everything. I've got my lawyers on speed dial. You're not alone in this." Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively's husband, that charming Canadian guy who's always the life of the party with his sarcastic tweets and Deadpool movies, was in the mix too, defending his wife in the press like the night he plays on screen. But Travis Michael Kelce was starting to resent him hard. Ryan Reynolds is turning this into a circus. Travis Michael Kelce told Taylor Allison Swift during one of their arguments in December 2025, his voice rising in their Beverly Hills rental, "And now your name's dragged into it, babe. This is gonna bite us." Taylor Allison Swift defended her friend with everything she had. "She's family to me, Travis Michael Kelce." You'd do the same for Jason Kelce if it was him. But the damage was done, the kind of damage that doesn't heal with a bouquet of flowers and a sorry text. The paparazzi started camping outside their places in New York and Los Angeles. The headlines were screaming, Tayvis in turmoil over Blake Lively drama, and the prenup meetings got even more tense, with lawyers exchanging emails at midnight like it was a hostage negotiation. I talked to someone who was in one of those meetings, a paralegal who couldn't keep quiet after a few drinks at a bar in Midtown. She said the room went dead silent when Travis Michael Kelce's lawyers suggested a clause about infidelity. If either party cheats, the assets are protected, no questions asked. Taylor Allison Swift's eyes went white, her face flushing. "Are you accusing me of something?" she asked. Her voice cold as ice, the kind of cold that makes grown men squirm. Travis Michael Kelce jumped in quick. "No, babe, it's standard, just protecting both of us." But the trust was eroding fast like sand through fingers. The same guy who said on his podcast in 2024 that he'd never fight with Taylor Allison Swift, that she was the one, now sitting across from her with lawyers talking about what ifs and cheating clauses. By early 2026, the wedding was pushed back, originally set for June in Rhode Island with the ocean as the backdrop, and A-list guests like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds as best man and maid of honor. Now it's fall at the earliest. The planners were told to pause everything, the guest list frozen like it was in limbo. Taylor Allison Swift threw herself into the studio, finishing Go Polite and starting on tracks that sound a lot like Pain and Doubt, lyrics about promises broken under spotlights and love that feels like a contract instead of a vow. One insider from her team said she was writing at 3 in the morning, alone in the studio with just a guitar and a bottle of wine, pouring out songs that could be the next album's heartbreak anthems. Travis Michael Kelce, meanwhile, was in San Francisco for Super Bowl week, but his mind was elsewhere, calling his financial advisor back in Kansas City, talking about investing in tech startups, maybe a sports media company that could be his legacy after football. "I need to build something that's mine," he told a close friend over the phone, the kind of conversation that got back to Taylor Allison Swift's circle and made her question if he was ready for the life they were planning. And then came the Super Bowl itself, and that ghosting wasn't just about the game or the music video drop. It was the culmination of months of this tension, the prenup wars, the retirement fears, the Blake Lively drama, all crashing together like a bad pileup on the highway. Taylor Allison Swift in New York, staring at her phone in her penthouse, seeing Travis Michael Kelce out there, living it up in San Francisco, liking photos of models on Instagram, FaceTiming with the boys from the suite. She sends that vulnerable text the night before, "I miss you, this wedding stress is killing me, and Blake Lively's thing is making me question everything about trust." He reads it, leaves it on read for hours while he's out with the boys at some exclusive party. When he finally replies, it's a voice note, voice a little thick from the drinks. "Babe, I'm just living my life. We'll talk when I'm back." She blocks him for the first time ever, tells her assistant, "I'm not going to that game, make up an excuse about the video drop." The security story was the cover they fed the paps, but the real reason was hurt, pure and simple. The girl who controls every narrative suddenly feeling like she was losing control of her own love story in real time. Kayla Nicole's ad during the game was the final slap in the face, the kind that stings long after the screen goes black. Kayla Nicole, the ex who dated Travis Michael Kelce from 2017 to 2022, the model who was with him through the rise to fame, the first Super Bowl win, the cheating rumors, the on and off again hell that she documented in her own way on social media. She's thriving now, her own brand deals, her own influencer empire, and that sleeper ad with Tiffany Haddish and Offset was her moment to shine bright. The internet went crazy, memes everywhere, Kayla Nicole watching Travis Michael Kelce get ghosted like she did. Taylor Allison Swift saw it all from her penthouse, and it stirred up every insecurity she has, the comparisons, the exes who never really go away, the way the world pits women against each other for clicks. "Am I just the next Kayla Nicole?" she supposedly asked a friend in a late-night call, her voice breaking a little. This is the identity crisis part, the one that makes this story so damn human and so damn messy. Travis Michael Kelce is 36, retired, or on the verge of it, looking at a future without the roar of the crowd and the adrenaline of the game. And Taylor Allison Swift's at the peak of her power, albums dropping, tours selling out in minutes, the billionaire who owns her own narrative. The power imbalance is real, and it's making both of them question everything they thought they knew about each other. The prenup is still not signed, the lawyers are on standby, the families are mediating through text and calls, Donna, Kelce and Andrea Swift trying to keep it light, but knowing it's serious as a heart attack. But here's the kicker. The thing that makes this story so damn addictive, despite all the money, all the drama, all the egos clashing like cymbals in a bad band, these two still love each other in that messy, all-consuming way that makes great art and terrible decisions. Travis Michael Kelce flew back to Los Angeles after the game, showed up at her door with flowers and apologies, the big teddy bear act that always works. They posted that reunited story on Instagram, but the cracks are there, the smiles don't reach the eyes, the texts between them now are short and careful. The next fight could be the one that breaks it, or it could be the one that makes them stronger, but right now the panic is real for Taylor Allison Swift. She is the girl who controls her narrative, and for the first time, the story is writing itself in ways she can't predict. And yeah, let's get right into the X-Files, because this is where the story stops being a cute little love story and turns into the kind of messy, jealous, shadow-filled drama that makes you wonder how two people this famous ever thought they could keep it together without the whole world watching their every move, like it was their personal reality show. We're talking about Kayla Nicole, the woman who was with Travis Michael Kelce for 5 full years, from 2017 all the way to 2022. The one who saw him go from a promising tight end to the absolute king of the NFL, the guy who threw parties that lasted until sunrise and dated models like it was his full-time job. Kayla Nicole was the ride or die back then, the tall, stunning influencer with a perfect smile and a body that turned heads everywhere from Miami beaches to Kansas City nightclubs. She was there for his first big Super Bowl run, the one in 2020, when the Chiefs finally won after 50 years of heartbreak, and she was right there on the field with him, hugging him tight while confetti rained down and the whole stadium was screaming his name. But behind the Instagram posts and the matching outfits, it was never easy. Travis Michael Kelce was wild in those days, the kind of wild that comes with sudden fame and money pouring in faster than you can count it. There were rumors of other girls, late nights that turned into mornings, texts that got deleted before she could see them. Kayla Nicole put up with it all, or at least she tried, posting cryptic stories about loyalty and strength, going to therapy quietly, telling her friends she loved him enough to wait for him to grow up. But then Taylor Allison Swift entered the picture in 2023, and everything changed overnight. Travis Michael Kelce went from the bachelor king to the devoted boyfriend in the blink of an eye, and Kayla Nicole was left in the dust, watching from the sidelines as the man she helped build started building a whole new life with the biggest pop star on the planet. At first, she stayed classy, no big public outbursts, just a few subtle posts about self-love and moving on. But the shades started creeping in, little by little, like poison in a fancy cocktail. There was that old video from 2021 that resurfaced right after Travis Michael Kelce and Taylor Allison Swift went public, where Kayla Nicole was on a podcast talking about her type, saying something like she liked guys who were tall and funny but loyal. And the way she said loyal had this edge to it, like she was side-eyeing the camera. Then came the body comments, indirect but cutting, posts about working out and feeling strong in her skin after years of being compared to whoever the new girl was. People in her circle say she was hurting bad, the kind of hurt that turns into quiet resentment, the kind where you smile in public but cry in the car on the way home. By 2025, when the engagement dropped, Kayla Nicole's shade went from subtle to surgical. She started posting throwback photos from her time with Travis Michael Kelce, nothing direct, just pictures of them at award shows or on vacations, with captions like "memories that built me" or "the chapters that taught me everything." The internet ate it up, connecting the dots, making memes about how Taylor Allison Swift was the upgrade, but maybe not the final boss. And then that Super Bowl ad in 2026, the one for Sleeper, where she's standing there with Tiffany Haddish and Offset, looking like $1 million, confident, glowing, successful on her own terms. The timing was perfect or perfectly cruel, depending on who you ask. Travis Michael Kelce's face flashes on the screen during the game, and the camera catches this little smirk on Kayla Nicole's face, the kind of smirk that says, I know what you did and I know how it ends. Taylor Allison Swift was watching from her New York penthouse alone with her phone, and that ad hit her like a gut punch. It wasn't just an ad, it was a reminder of every ex who came before, every woman who knew Travis Michael Kelce in ways she never would. Every comparison the tabloids love to make about her body, her appeal, her innocent image versus the party girl past. But Kayla Nicole wasn't the only ghost in the closet. During the 2025 season, when Travis Michael Kelce was still playing and the engagement was fresh, there were whispers about other women popping up in his direct messages, the kind of whispers that come from trainers in Kansas City gyms and bartenders in Los Angeles clubs. Nothing confirmed, nothing that made the front pages, but enough to make Taylor Allison Swift's anxiety spike through the roof. There was this one model, a tall brunette who had been linked to a few NFL guys before, who supposedly slid into Travis Michael Kelce's Instagram after a game in October, liking his stories and sending a casual congrats on the win message that turned into a longer conversation. Taylor Allison Swift found out through a mutual friend, the kind of friend who thinks they're helping but really just stirs the pot. She confronted him in their Los Angeles rental that same week, her voice shaking a little but her eyes sharp as knives. Who is she, Travis Michael Kelce? Why is she in your messages at 2 in the morning? He laughed it off at first, that big booming laugh that usually melts, saying, babe, it's nothing, just fans being fans. But she pushed, showing him the screenshots a friend had forwarded, and the argument turned into one of those long, exhausting nights where they both end up on opposite sides of the bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering if this is what forever feels like. Taylor Allison Swift's own past made it all so much worse, because this woman has been through the ringer when it comes to heartbreak, the kind that doesn't just sting but leave scars you carry into every new relationship like invisible baggage. Remember Joe Alwyn, the quiet British actor she was with for 6 long years, from 2016 to 2022? He was her safe place, the guy who understood the industry without being in it the same way, the one who kept her grounded while she was conquering the world. But the rumors started, the ones about her being too much, too demanding, too focused on her career. Insiders say he pulled away slowly, canceling plans, spending more time on film sets, until one day in early 2023 it was just over, no big fight, just a quiet goodbye that left her devastated. She channeled it into the album Midnights, those midnight tracks full of regret and what ifs, but the pain lingered. Then came Matty Healy, the chaotic frontman of the 2975, the one who was all tattoos and bad decisions, the one who made her feel alive in the most dangerous way. That relationship lasted like a match in the wind, a few months in 2023 that ended in flames. When old tweets and comments about race and women surfaced, and Taylor Allison Swift was left looking like the girl who fell for the wrong guy again. She wrote about it in the Tortured Poets department, those raw lyrics about being the problem, about loving people who burn you. So when Travis Michael Kelce came along, this big, loud, affectionate guy who seemed to match her energy and her fame, she fell hard and fast, but the trust issues were always there, simmering under the surface like a pot about to boil over. Every late night text from a stranger, every ex popping up with a perfectly timed post, every argument about the spotlight made her see ghosts from her past, made her question if she was enough, if this time it would be different. That's why the Super Bowl ghosting wasn't just a missed game. It was the breaking point, the moment all those insecurities collided with the real-life pressure of planning a wedding, dealing with prenups, navigating the Blake Lively drama, and watching the men she loved live it up in San Francisco while she was stuck in New York, finishing a song about their love that suddenly felt fragile. I talked to someone who was in her inner circle that weekend, a friend who doesn't want to be named, but who saw the text and heard the tears. She said Taylor Allison Swift was pacing in her penthouse the night before the game, phone in hand, rereading the voice note Travis Michael Kelce sent her, the one where his voice was a little slurred from the drinks, and he said, babe, I'm just living my life, we'll talk when I'm back. That line broke something in her. She blocked him right there, told her assistant to cancel the flight, to come up with the story about the music video drop being more important. "I can't be there smiling for cameras when I feel like this," she supposedly said, her voice cracking. The security excuse was what they told the world, but the real reason was deeper. The kind of hurt that comes from loving someone who makes you feel like you're always one step behind his old life. And Kayla Nicole knew exactly what she was doing with that ad. She had been building her own empire, her own brand, her own way of saying, "I survived you, Travis Michael Kelce, and I'm better for it." The timing during the biggest game of the year, the subtle smirk, the way the internet exploded with comparisons, it was her quiet victory lap. Taylor Allison Swift saw it, and it stirred up every doubt she had about whether Travis Michael Kelce had really changed, whether the party boy was still in there under the devoted fiancé mask. She posted that cryptic lyric later that night, something from an old song about betrayal and moving on, and the comments flooded in, people speculating, people taking sides, people turning their love story into content. This is the part of the story that hits different when you really think about it. These are two people at the top of their games, 36 years old each, with more money and fame than most humans will ever see, and yet they're still human, still dealing with jealousy and past and fears of not being enough. Travis Michael Kelce flew back to Los Angeles after the game, showed up at her door with flowers and that puppy dog look, the one that usually works, and they patched things up for the cameras, posting that reunited story. But the texts between them now are shorter, the plans for the wedding are on hold, the lawyers are still waiting for the prenup to be signed. The magic is still there, but it's fragile, like a glass vase on a wobbly shelf. And we're getting closer to the heart of why this ghosting might be the beginning of the end, because the family pressures, the money talks, the ex-shade, all of it was building to this one weekend where Taylor Allison Swift finally said enough. But there's one more layer, the one that involves the friends, the inner circle, the way Blake Lively's drama became the mirror that showed Taylor Allison Swift her own future if she didn't speak up. Stick with me, because in the next part we're going deep into how Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's situation became the warning sign, how secret meetings happened in New York and Los Angeles, and how Taylor Allison Swift started questioning if marrying into this world was worth losing herself all over again. And let me tell you, the Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds situation was exactly that mirror Taylor Allison Swift could not stop staring into, because watching her best friend go through the public meat grinder with Justin Baldoni was like seeing her own worst nightmare play out in real time. The kind of nightmare where love turns into lawsuits, friends become liabilities, and every text you ever sent gets splashed across court documents for the whole world to pick apart like vultures at a feast. Blake Lively, the girl Taylor Allison Swift has called sister since the Gossip Girl days back in the late 2000s, the one who stood by her through every breakup, every album cycle, every paparazzi chase, suddenly found herself in the middle of the ugliest Hollywood war of 2025. It started with that movie, It Ends With Us, the Colleen Hoover adaptation that Blake Lively produced and starred in, with Justin Baldoni directing and playing the abusive husband. What was supposed to be a passion project about domestic violence turned into a battlefield of egos, power plays, and leaked messages that made everyone look bad. By the time the film hit theaters in August 2025, the cracks were already there. Blake Lively was pushing for a lighter tone, more female gaze, more empowerment, while Justin Baldoni was leaning hard into the dark, gritty side. Insiders who were on set say the tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Blake Lively felt unsafe, felt like her boundaries were being ignored, felt like the intimacy coordinator was more decoration than protection. So she started texting her inner circle, including Taylor Allison Swift, late at night, voice notes full of tears and frustration. "He's weaponizing the set against me," Blake Lively supposedly said in one of those messages that later got unsealed in the lawsuit. Taylor Allison Swift was all in, replying with her own voice notes at 3 in the morning. "Document every single thing. I'm sending you my lawyer's number right now. You are not alone in this." Those texts became the smoking gun when Blake Lively filed her complaint in December 2025. And suddenly, Taylor Allison Swift's name was everywhere in the court filings, not as a defendant, but as the supportive friend whose words were now public property. Ryan Reynolds, that quick-witted Canadian with the sarcastic tweets and the Deadpool fortune, jumped in like the protective husband he is. He started doing press interviews where he danced around the drama without naming names, but everyone knew exactly who he was talking about. Some people in this industry still think they can treat women like props, he said on a late-night talk show, and the internet connected the dots instantly. Travis Michael Kelce, watching all this from the sidelines, started getting uneasy. He liked Ryan Reynolds at first. They had hung out a few times, double dates in New York, laughing over beers. But as the lawsuit heated up, Travis Michael Kelce started pulling back. This is gonna drag us down with it. He told Taylor Allison Swift during one of their December dinners in Beverly Hills, Ryan Reynolds is turning this into a circus, and now your name's all over it. Taylor Allison Swift defended her friend with fire in her eyes. Blake Lively is family to me, Travis Michael Kelce. She's going through hell, and you're acting like it's none of your business. The argument got loud, doors slammed, and that was the night Travis Michael Kelce slept in the guest room for the first time in their relationship. Secret meetings started happening after that. Taylor Allison Swift flew Blake Lively out to New York in early January 2026. The two of them holed up in Taylor Allison Swift's penthouse for hours, lawyers on speakerphone going over strategy. Ryan Reynolds was there too, pacing the room, making jokes to lighten the mood, but his face serious when it counted. They talked about how to protect the kids, how to keep the story from leaking further, how to make sure the public saw Blake Lively as the victim and not the difficult actress. Taylor Allison Swift was giving advice from her own battles, the Scooter Braun Masters fight, the Kanye West phone call. All the time she had to fight dirty to keep her power. You own your narrative, she told Blake Lively, squeezing her hand across the table. Don't let them rewrite you. Travis Michael Kelce knew about the meeting, but he wasn't invited. He was in Kansas City at the time doing podcast stuff with Jason Kelce, but he felt the distance growing. She's choosing her friend over us, he supposedly told a close buddy in a phone call that got back to Taylor Allison Swift's circle. This was the warning sign Taylor Allison Swift could not ignore. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds had been married since 2012, 4 kids, the picture-perfect Hollywood power couple, and yet here they were, fighting a public battle that was bleeding into every part of their life. Taylor Allison Swift started asking herself the hard questions in those late nights after the meetings. If this can happen to them, what happens to us when the spotlight turns? She looked at her own engagement ring, the massive oval diamond Travis Michael Kelce had put on her finger just months earlier, and wondered if the prenup talks were just the beginning. Ryan Reynolds was doing everything right as a husband, standing by Blake Lively, but even he was getting dragged through the mud in the press. Travis Michael Kelce, with his big personality and his retirement fears, started looking less like the safe harbor and more like another variable in an equation that could explode at any moment. The Blake Lively drama also brought up old wounds for Taylor Allison Swift about loyalty and who really has your back when the cameras stop rolling. Selena Gomez, another close friend, had been through her own public mess with Justin Bieber and Hailey Bieber, and Taylor Allison Swift had seen how those friendships got tested. But Blake Lively was different. She was the one who flew to Taylor Allison Swift's side during the Kim Kardashian and Kanye West phone call drama back in 2016, the one who helped her hide out in New York when the world was against her. Now the roles were reversed, and Taylor Allison Swift was pouring everything she had into supporting Blake Lively, even if it meant arguments with Travis Michael Kelce. He felt sidelined, like he was competing with her entire girl squad for her attention. I want to be your person, he told her in one of their January fights, not just another guy in the background of your Hollywood life. The drama surrounding Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni continues to ripple through Hollywood's most powerful circles, leaving us to wonder who will stand when the dust finally settles. And then came the Super Bowl weekend and everything collided. Taylor Allison Swift in New York finishing the Opalite video, getting updates from Blake Lively about the latest court filings, while Travis Michael Kelce was in San Francisco living his best retired life. The distance wasn't just physical, it was emotional. She sent him that vulnerable text the night before the game, the one about missing him and the wedding stress, and how the Blake Lively thing was making her question trust in general. He left her on red for hours. When he finally replied with that slurred voice note about just living, it felt like confirmation of every fear she had been carrying Jan since the prenup meetings and the secret support sessions with Blake Lively. So she blocked him, canceled the trip, used the music video as the excuse, The security story was for the Paps, but the real reason was that she was testing him, seeing if he would choose her over the party, over the boys, over the old life that Kayla Nicole represented. Blake Lively texted her that weekend too, checking in, sending strength emojis, and we got these messages. It reminded Taylor Allison Swift that her real family, the one she built with her friends, was still standing strong, while her romantic future felt like it was hanging by a thread. Ryan Reynolds even sent a group text to the squad, trying to keep spirits up, but the weight of it all was heavy. Taylor Allison Swift started questioning if marrying into this world meant signing up for the same public battles Blake Lively was fighting. Is this what forever looks like? She supposedly wrote in her journal that night, lyrics scribbled next to it about promises that crack under pressure. The warning sign was clear. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds had the money, the fame, the beautiful family, and still their marriage was being tested in the most brutal way possible. Taylor Allison Swift saw herself in that mirror, saw how one bad project, one leaked text, one ego clash could tear everything apart. She started wondering if Travis Michael Kelce was ready for that level of scrutiny, if his retirement dreams and his podcast empire would clash with her need for control, if the exes and the friends and the lawyers would always be in the background pulling strings. But even with all that fear, she still loved him. That's what makes this story so damn complicated. She wanted to believe they were different, that their love was stronger than the industry that eats couples for breakfast. Travis Michael Kelce flew back to Los Angeles after the game, showed up with flowers and apologies, and they patched it up enough to post that reunited story. But the damage was deeper than any Instagram caption could hide. The wedding plans stayed paused, the prenup talks went cold, and Taylor Allison Swift threw herself into writing, turning all this pain into songs that could be her next masterpiece. And those quiet moments after the Super Bowl reunion are where the real story hides, the ones the cameras never catch, the ones that happen in the dim light of a Los Angeles living room or a New York kitchen at 2 a.m, when the phones are finally put away and it's just Taylor Allison Swift and Travis Michael Kelce staring at each other across a marble island, wondering if the love they built is strong enough to survive the weight of everything they've dragged into it. Travis Michael Kelce showed up at her door the day after the game, flowers in hand. That big teddy bear energy turned all the way up. The same look he gave her the night he proposed in that Rhode Island garden. She let him in, they hugged for what felt like forever, and for a few hours it almost felt like the old days, the ones before the prenup lawyers and the Blake Lively text and the Kayla Nicole smirk during the biggest game of the year. They ordered takeout from that sushi spot where they had their first date, laughed about the old podcast clips, even talked about baby names in that half-joking way that makes your heart ache when you know the future is hanging by a thread. But the cracks were still there, visible in the small things. The way Taylor Allison Swift would check her phone every few minutes, waiting for updates from Blake Lively about the latest court filing. The way Travis Michael Kelce would scroll through Instagram a little too long, liking old football highlights like he was already missing the roar of the crowd. They didn't fight that night, not out loud, but the silence between them said more than any argument ever could. She asked him straight up over dinner, her voice soft but steady, "Travis Michael Kelce, are we really doing this or are we just playing house for the cameras?" He paused, that big hand of his covering hers, and said, "Babe, I love you more than anything, but I need to figure out who I am without the helmet first." That answer hung in the air like smoke, the kind that stings your eyes and makes you cough even when you're trying to breathe easy. The family intervention started the very next week. Donna Kelce, Travis Michael Kelce's mom, that fiery Ohio woman who has been Team Taylor Allison Swift since day one, flew out to Los Angeles without telling anyone. She showed up at their place with a homemade lasagna and that no-nonsense look she gives her boys when they're acting up. Donna Kelce sat them both down in the living room, the same room where they filmed those cozy couple videos for the podcast, and she laid it out like only a mom who raised 2 NFL stars can. "You two are too damn stubborn for your own good," she said, her voice warm but firm. Travis Michael Kelce, you stop chasing the spotlight like it's the only thing that matters. Taylor Allison Swift, you stop building walls like the whole world is out to get you. She talked about her own marriage to Ed Kelce, how they fought through the hard years when money was tight and the boys were little, how love isn't about perfect Instagram posts, but about showing up even when it's ugly. Taylor Allison Swift cried a little, the kind of tears that come from exhaustion and relief all at once, and Travis Michael Kelce nodded, that big goofy grin finally cracking into something real. Andrea Swift flew in a few days later, the protective stage mom who moved the family to Nashville when Taylor Allison Swift was 14 and never stopped fighting for her. Andrea Swift and Donna Kelce at a private lunch in Malibu, just the two of them, talking like the moms they are, swapping stories about raising kids in the spotlight. Andrea Swift told Donna Kelce, "My daughter has been hurt so many times, I can't watch it happen again." Donna Kelce nodded. "My son is scared of becoming nothing without football, but he loves her more than he knows how to say." They made the pact right there over salads and iced tea, the kind of pact only mothers can make to keep pushing their kids toward each other, even when the kids are too proud to admit they need the push. Scott Swift, Taylor Allison Swift's dad, the finance guy who taught her about owning her masters, stayed in the background but sent a long email to Travis Michael Kelce, the kind that starts with son and ends with take care of her or answer to me. Jason Kelce, the big brother, the retired eagle who knows what retirement feels like, called Travis Michael Kelce every night that week, reminding him, "Bro, she's the best thing that ever happened to you. Don't let the fear win." The wedding plans stayed paused, but the conversations got deeper. They started seeing a couples therapist in Los Angeles, the kind who works with celebrities and knows how to keep her mouth shut. The therapist made them do exercises, the ones where you sit facing each other and say what you're really afraid of. Taylor Allison Swift talked about her fear of abandonment, how Joe Alwyn left quietly and Matty Healy left in flames, and how she built an empire so no one could ever take her power again. Travis Michael Kelce talked about his fear of becoming invisible, how the roar of the crowd defined him for 15 years, and now the idea of waking up without a game plan terrified him more than any hit he ever took on the field. They cried together in that office, real tears, the kind that come from finally seeing each other without the filters. By late February 2026, things were starting to shift. They were spotted in New York grabbing coffee, holding hands for real this time, not for the paps. Taylor Allison Swift posted a story with a lyric from one of her new songs, something about second chances and fighting for the light. Travis Michael Kelce went on the podcast with Jason Kelce and talked about growth in that vague way that made everyone read between the lines. The prenup is still not signed, but the lawyers are back at the table, this time with softer language and fewer demands. The wedding is back on the calendar for fall, smaller than they originally planned, just family and the closest friends, the ocean in Rhode Island as the witness. But the panic is still there for Taylor Allison Swift, the quiet kind that wakes her up at night. She knows the next fight could be the one that ends it, the one where the exes, the friends, the money, the egos all line up again and the fairy tale finally cracks for good. Travis Michael Kelce is trying, really trying, to be the man she needs, the one who chooses her over the noise. But Hollywood is a machine that runs on drama, and these two are the biggest story in it right now. The album she's writing is going to be fire, full of the pain and the hope and the mess of loving someone this hard in a world that wants to tear it apart. This is the ugly truth, folks. The Super Bowl ghosting wasn't the end. It was the wake-up call. Two people at the top of the world, 36 years old, richer than God, famous beyond measure, still figuring out how to love each other without losing themselves. They might make it, they might not. But one thing is for sure, whatever happens next, Taylor Allison Swift will turn it into art. And Travis Michael Kelce will be right there in the songs, whether as the hero or the heartbreak. That's the full story, the one nobody else is telling you. The dirt, the details, the real reasons behind that empty suite at Super Bowl 60. If you want more of this, if you want me to dig into the next layer of Blake Lively's lawsuit or Kayla Nicole's full timeline or what Travis Michael Kelce's retirement really looks like behind the scenes, smash that like button right now. Subscribe so you never miss an episode of the filthiest truth in Hollywood. Drop in the comments who you want me to go after next, Selena Gomez and Hailey Bieber, the Diddy fallout, or maybe the real story behind Sydney Sweeney's latest drama? Tell me. And if you've got insider info, leaked text, anything that the publicists are trying to bury, send it my way. Anonymity guaranteed, always. Contacts are right there in the description under this video. I read every single one. This is Dirty Hollywood. We don't do fairy tales here. We do the truth, no matter how ugly it gets. Stay dirty, everybody. Peace.